Hello humans, today we are watching the Artemis 2 Flight Day 3 highlights from April 3rd, 2026 as I'm recording this, and even when it comes out it will be later than that. But I've been doing a lot of other stuff on this channel besides just Artemis stuff, and so I'm a little bit behind. I'm not putting these out every other day. I will be putting out these flight highlights every other day, and so I will finish up the flight highlights after they've already landed, but they're still worth watching. I still enjoy seeing what's happening every day. I'm super excited to get into this. I have constrained myself. I have restrained myself. I don't know if those words are synonyms. From watching any long-form clips about the Artemis so that I can react to it authentically on stream for the first time. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Good morning from the Artemis Flight Control Room here in Mission Control Houston. I'm Nilofer Ramji with NASA Communications. As part of your Orbit 3 flight control team, we are coming to you live with 24/7 continuous coverage of the Artemis 2 mission. You are seeing live views right now from one of the solar array wings aboard the Orion spacecraft. As mentioned not too long ago, there is a surveying activity taking place while the crew is asleep. This is where the flight control teams on the ground here maneuver the solar array wings to take a look at the command module, which is sort of on the top left side of your screen, as well as the service module, which is on the bottom part of the spacecraft.
I had no idea that they could remotely do stuff to it while it was floating out there without the crew being awake. I didn't know they could do all that. That's pretty cool. I guess that doubles up the workload they can get done because they can do stuff while the crew is awake, and they can do stuff while the crew is not awake. I wonder if the crew, though, can hear like the motors of the things turning and stuff.
This surveying activity essentially checks for any damage post-launch. The flight control team on the ground will conduct an additional surveying activity post-lunar flyby. For now, This is Mission Control Houston.
I've wanted to watch the live stream, but again, I've held off so that I can watch it and react to it in videos like this, and not just, I don't want to rewatch things that I've already watched. I wonder if they just are looking at it visually, or if they've got like sonar, radar, LiDAR attached units where they can scan the ship and make sure there's like nothing that looks like it's wrong.
Now, as mentioned, the live views on the left side of your screen are from the solar array wings on Orion. And we are seeing live views right now capturing the engines. You can see some venting happening in the images in front of you right now.
Oh, let me just, actually I might not have to pause this even because it seems like there's some dead space. Every time I click on a new video, I don't know why, YouTube automatically gives it to me at 360p, which shouldn't even exist anymore. I don't know why it does. I need to find the setting to turn that off so that I can watch things in full HD and not wonder why everything is so grainy and looks like it's in 360p because it's in 360p. Anyways, that's my rant on that. I'd hoped they would have cut these down a little bit. I mean, this is cool and all, but I was thinking this was like a highlights recap. So if there's too much dead space, I might just cut it down myself in post. There's not really a whole lot for me to react to of just watching the Orion slowly spin. Except, is that green? I thought it was... It looks like it's green? Patchy green? Green and silver? That's interesting. I thought it was all silver.
Welcome to the Artemis Flight Control Room, and welcome to Flight Day 3 of the Artemis 2 mission, a test mission and the first flight of humans on Orion. I'm NASA's Leah Cheshire Mustachio here in the Flight Control Room with the Orbit 1 team, now being led by Flight Director Jeff Radigan. It was a big day for the crew yesterday as the translunar injection burn was completed, committing Orion to fly around the moon on flight day 6 and return to Earth on flight day 10. Today we have another burn scheduled. That's the OTC-1 burn, Outbound Trajectory Correction 1. That's slated for 5:49 p.m. Central Time and would be an 8-second burn using the reaction control system thrusters. We've also been getting some imagery down from Orion, taken by the crew after the translunar injection burn.
Yeah, so I was really hoping that they were going to start putting some of these pictures in these recaps. Being a photographer by trade, I can't get enough of space photos, and I hope one day I get a chance to take them. That might be a shot in the dark. That might be something that's not realistic, but I can dream, can't I? I'm also going to do a video probably in a few days looking at some of these pictures specifically. So if I don't pause long enough on any of them, first of all, you can go down into the description where you can find NASA Johnson's official YouTube channel. It's linked in the description. You can find this video yourself. You can watch it without any of my interruptions or pauses or whatever. And then 2, you can keep an eye out for the video I will be posting about specifically the pictures being taken on Artemis.
This photo showing the beautiful Earth outside the window of the spacecraft as the crew was flying away. And this next photo, a backlit Earth as the crew was departing from translunar injection. And if you look very, very closely up to the top of your screen, you can see the aurora borealis, and on the left in those clouds, a couple of lightning strikes.
Really? Oh, I guess I can see the lightning strikes on the left. That's really cool. I can't see the aurora borealis. I don't think I can, at least. I see a lot of grain. I was watching some other video that was saying that they use Nikon D5s up there because they are the only camera on the market with a high enough ISO range, which is crazy. I hope someday Canon gets on board, because I would love to see a Canon go to space. Canon being the camera brand, not the military weapon. But because I'm a Canon shooter myself. But yeah, they use the Nikon D5s, and I can see it. There's a lot of grain in this image. I'm gonna try not to make this video too much about analyzing the pictures. I'll do that in the analyzing the picture video. But yeah, that's a really cool shot. A lot of grain in there. You can tell it's a high ISO picture.
You're getting a live look inside the Orion capsule at our 4 Artemis 2 crew members, now 106,000 miles away from Earth. We are standing by for their daily planning conference, where teams on the ground will be relaying up information for the crew as they start flight day 3.
Is the camel floating, or is it...
From left to right, we have NASA astronaut Christina Cook, Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, and on the far right, Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen.
Seems like it'd be difficult to
look
position
inside
things.
Orion, a little scene setter for you. The interior habitable volume is 330 cubic feet, so that's about the size of 2 minivans. This is 60% more cubic volume than the astronauts had during the Apollo missions.
Yeah, okay, so here's the comparison I've heard. 2 minivans, I'm glad they said that. So the Gemini missions, they said it was like having 2 guys inside of a phone booth. The Apollo missions was like having 3 guys inside of a Volkswagen Beetle. So now the Artemis missions are like having 4 people inside of 2 minivans. That helps visualize all 3 missions, mission eras, and how much space they have grown to, which is great. Still not a whole lot of space, but it's a lot more space than a phone booth. It's crazy because...
Integrity, small request. If you could tilt the camera down slightly towards the lockers. We have a great view of Christina and some of the boxes up above. Thanks.
That camera must not be secured, otherwise it would look better, I would think.
No problem, Chris. I did not mount it. I just kind of friction fit it, and I'll get a better spot for it later today, and we'll get a more permanent mount going.
Sounds like a great plan. Thanks.
That's the downside of things floating, I guess, is that they don't stay where you put them. They stay relatively where you put them if you don't attach any momentum to them whatsoever when you put them there. But it's very hard to do that, I would imagine. I've never been in space. But from the videos I've watched, it seems like to put something into space, into a space, and have it sit there and not move is nearly impossible, because any just tap or vibration of momentum attached to any point of it is gonna, angle it, push it, sway it. It's gonna move around. It's gonna drift off into space. No pun intended.
Houston Integrity, we're ready for morning KPC.
Good morning, Integrity. We are so happy to be on board with you today, you guys.
Does it not have a viewfinder? It seems like if they don't know that they're out of frame, that it doesn't have a viewfinder. That's interesting. I wonder what kind of camera they're using. I just commented that they're using Nikon D5s. I know they're using that for taking the pictures. I don't know what they're using for the video here. It seems like if they don't know it's out of frame, then it doesn't have a viewfinder. That's really interesting.
It looks great. That cabin config looks amazing. We would love to be on board as much as possible today. We'll stop streaming for the family conferences, but would request to come back on board afterwards to share your mission with the world.
Oh, I didn't realize they had family conferences. That's really nice. That's a nice touch. You can talk to your family during the day, just privately. That's really nice.
I have quite a number of topics for you today. I'll start with trajectory. We are actually going to continue evaluating the need for OTC-1 based on the small magnitude of the burn. We'll have an update for you later. A couple of vehicle statuses. In order to address what we saw last night with the small increase in ox tank pressure accompanied by a small decrease in the ox helium tank pressure, we did to do some troubleshooting. We closed the valve ox helium ISO 1. You can see this on the top left of your prop ohms plus X page.
I'm not going to know too much about the technical stuff they're talking about because I don't know too much about techno stuff they're talking about, but I'll comment on what I see visually mostly. I mean, I wonder what kind of tablets they're using. They don't look like iPads. I've got an iPad. It doesn't look like that. I wonder if they're like Microsoft tablets or something.
We're continuing to look at that. Don't have a full story for you yet.
Okay,
Thankfully, it doesn't seem like they're.
Now, but I will take a look.
Thankfully, it doesn't seem like they're too concerned about it.
Soon. All right, it was really great to wake up this morning and look out the window and see the full moon off the front of the vehicle. There's no doubt where we are heading right now, and really appreciate all the work down there. It was also really awesome. Thank all the phytos. I can't believe that actually all worked. And when I saw that OTC-1 was like a 0.8 meter per second burn this morning on targeting, I thought we might skip it, and that is pretty impressive. All right.
Here's a question I never thought about the answer to until just now when I'm asking this. He said it was great to see the full moon this morning. If it was like a crescent moon or something, would they also see it as a crescent moon? Or would they still just see the full thing illuminated? I actually don't know how that works, because it's the shadow of the Earth in front of the moon that makes us only see parts of the moon at certain times, right? So I guess that would still be the case, although I wonder if the angle is different, because I don't know if they're directly in line between the center of the Earth and the center of the moon. They might be off to one side or the other. So I wonder if we saw a crescent moon or a waxing moon or something, if they would also see that, or if they could see the full thing. That's a very interesting thought.
Signing off.
Thanks, and copy all, Integrity.
Bye.
That was the conclusion of the daily planning conference. However, if you listen to the start of that conference, you did hear the relay to the crew that we hope to have the cameras on as much as possible throughout this flight day to allow us to share their journey with the world. So we intend to be able to share the crew with you as much as we possibly can. They are going to move into some of their other tasks today. Again, you heard them discussing the OTC-1 burn, that's orbital trajectory correction burn, or sorry, outbound trajectory correction burn. And Christina Cook taking the camera.
It's interesting to see the different, like, where everything is. I was not quite sure where the camera was in relation to the inside of the Orion. Now I kind of have a more formed picture of where exactly it was. It's hard. It's hard when there's no up or down, right? Everything's up, everything's down, everything's sideways. It's really hard to be in a spatial dimension mindset and be like, I wonder where the heat shield is versus the cone part versus the windows versus, and I'm sure they orient pretty quickly. They've been training inside that capsule for years, but to all of a sudden have an orientation shift where, like, that's not the ground anymore, that's not the top anymore, and it's like, I'm sure that's got to be a weird thing even after 10 days to get used to trying to reorient yourself for landing, being like, okay, that's the top, I have to be sitting this way it's got to be a weird thing.
To show us a wastewater dump. So you heard Commander Reed Wiseman that...
What's the dust outside the window?
Commander Reed Wiseman
is that just space
that they
dust?
don't necessarily hear those wastewater dumps, but that they do see them. So you're getting a live look outside the windows of the Orion spacecraft as they conduct that wastewater dump.
Oh, is that what that is? It's the wastewater dump? The Orion spacecraft is taking a dump?
Copy that successful wastewater dump.
This is Artemis Mission Control. I am NASA PAO Leah Cheshire, joined here by Canadian Space Agency astronaut, Artemis 2 backup crew member, and a Capcom, Jenny Givens. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So I would love to know a little bit about your...
I didn't know they had backup astronauts. I guess that makes sense. If you're pouring all these billions of dollars into a mission and one of the people gets sick or something goes wrong with them, got to have a step-in. It would kind of suck, I guess, to be the step-in and not go, but I guess they are the step-in after all.
Your experience as a Canadian Space Agency astronaut, what has that journey been like for you?
It has been overwhelmingly positive. I feel very lucky to be in the role that I'm in, but it's just really the honor of my life to work missions like this. Like seeing one of my very dear Canadian colleagues and my other dear friends in space has been pretty phenomenal. So the past few days have been exceptional, but also just to be embedded here at NASA as a Canadian astronaut. We have an excellent partnership and we're boots on the ground here at NASA. And I see every day really the results of what you get when you have a shared mission and you work together. And we just have a really bright future. I feel very positive about being here.
I agree. It's very exciting.
I'm curious. I'll have to look this up. I'm curious, one, if the Artemis 3 astronauts have been announced yet. I don't know that yet. And two, I wonder if having been basically an understudy for Artemis 2, if that immediately qualifies you to be in Artemis 3 or an understudy for Artemis 3 as well. Like, I'm curious if there's any, or if there's no correlation whatsoever. It's a whole different cast and crew, as it were, in this metaphor. And it's has completely no relevance. I don't know, but it'd be interested to know.
You've been training as an Artemis 2 backup crew member alongside the crew very closely. Can you tell us what that's been like?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long road. So backup crew members, we're kind of in an interesting spot because we do all of the crew training, and it's a very developmental mission. It's very nascent, so we're still learning. We do a lot of developmental work and contribution. Right there alongside with the crew, there were 6 of us assigned to this mission, and 4 of us are up there now. So that's a joy to see. And as we approach the mission, my work really transitioned to support. So what can I do to get these guys safely off the ground? Andre and I both worked as astronaut support people. You saw Dre strap our crew into the capsule, which was very cool. And now I have the pleasure of sitting the Capcom console. So supporting them with my training and knowing what they know. And I have a lot of joy every day I see them up there. So it's been great.
Okay.
Integrity,
that's pretty neat.
Houston, with a status and a timeline delta.
Was that Earth that I was looking at there?
Go ahead, Chris.
All right, we wanted to let you know that we are stepping into our burn cancellation procedure here from the ground. We have attempted to suppress any expected caution and warnings associated with that. Just want to give you a heads up. And then we'll let you know when we have a new active burn plan.
Mission Planning Officer here in Artemis Flight Control in Houston, Texas, reports that the crew is go for exercise as the solar arrays are now in place. We'll be looking to see if there's any movement while Commander Reed Wiseman begins his exercise portion.
Okay.
Orion is currently 113,922 miles away from our home planet, 152,000 miles away from the moon.
That's crazy. That is so far.
This is Artemis Mission Control. As you can see, some motion on your screen from this camera on the solar array wing looking back at Orion. We are expecting that to be from Commander Reed Wiseman, exercising yet again. The crew's timeline to exercise 30 minutes each during this mission. This keeps their bones.
I thought they were saying he was running an exercise. He's exercising like he's physically exercising? And that's generating a shake on the... Am I understanding that correct? Or is he running an exercise like I thought he was? Which one is it?
Muscle strong while in the microgravity environment.
Oh, okay. He's physically exercising. Interesting. I wonder why that affects the camera there.
This type of motion doesn't damage the spacecraft, but the solar array wings are locked and parked to keep them from being damaged by any loads imparted from this movement.
That's interesting. I didn't expect that would be the case. So does any movement on the inside of the craft?
You're getting a look at NASA astronaut Victor Glover, pilot for the Artemis 2 mission, preparing to exercise. And what he is using is the flywheel device.
It seems difficult. Like, it seems difficult to, like, stay planted enough to do that. It also looks like he's using a giant pogo stick. Especially when you're like in tight quarters like that, you have to be able to stand up all the way and you're kind of like floating around as far as like orientation is concerned. That's really interesting. Very tight quarters indeed.
This is Artemis Mission Control, 2 days and 14 minutes mission elapsed time for the first flight of humans aboard Orion. And I am joined here by Paul Boehm, Orion Crew Support and Thermal Systems Manager. Thank you for joining us, Paul.
Oh, thank you very much for having me, Leah. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about your role. You just came from the Orion Mission Evaluation Room, is that right?
Yeah, actually, I just did. I was just checking our systems to see how things were going, and I am really pleased. So my role is I manage the hardware related to crew and all the crew systems on the vehicle, the ECLA system, the thermal systems, the suits, the flight crew equipment that are on the vehicle. And so been doing that for almost 14 years now.
Wow, that's impressive. And when we're talking about the ECLA system, that stands for Environmental Control and Life Support System. So what all makes up ECLAS?
I kind of wish they would not do the acronyms. I know it's probably just faster to say, but they use acronyms for every darn department. And like when they're talking about stuff, it's just like you can have, 3 minutes of space where they just speak in acronyms, and I have no idea what anything means.
ECLAS, yes. The biggest thing everybody thinks about for ECLAS is the life support system, the pressurization system, the air revitalization system that we have, and then the other part.
They need to really adjust their color balance on the camera there. He looks like an Oompa Loompa.
Of it that are also part of it is the thermal aspect of it, where we're cooling the air to be able to keep the crew temperature down exactly where they want it to be comfortable in the cabin. And so that is also part of our system as well.
Yeah, we heard them make some calls a couple days ago about being a little chilly, and your team is the one that works on making sure they're comfortable?
Yes, we've been working that the last couple of days, trying some adjustments. It's one of the things I will stress with the new vehicle. We are learning every single day that we're flying.
Yeah, I would imagine they're learning everything, but at the same time, if they've been working on this vehicle for years, I almost would have expected it not to be an issue. Like, they should have planned for this. I'm not trying to criticize them, too heavily. But I don't know. It seems like after years and years of working with this single thing, I know they're constantly refining it, updating it over and over and over and over and over again. I guess they probably just never considered temperature so precisely. They had to consider it at some aspect, but it seems like when they called the other day and they were like, "Hey, we're kind of cold." The Houston response was, "Okay, we'll look and see what we can do about that." They don't just have a thermostat on board. That makes sense, but it is kind of funny that it wasn't like it's not just an easier fix to just, oh yeah, just do this and this, and then you're good. It was like a whole thing they had to go through to try to figure out how to make them less cold.
This vehicle right now, especially with the crew in it. We flew Artemis 1. We learned some things about the systems there, but now we have the crew involved, which adds a whole new dynamic to the vehicle, and that is what is really what we're looking at today, and learning how to interact with the crew and adjust things as we need to make the crew comfortable.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And you also work with the food systems a little bit as well. So they're actually getting ready for a midday meal. We've been fortunate enough to have in-cabin views for some of today, and we saw them getting out some of their...
I have seen, as much as I've tried to keep myself from watching this stuff, I have seen the Nutella clip, and I don't know what day it happens on, but that's funny.
So can you tell us about the food one?
It's also cool that they don't just eat astronaut food. You used to go to the Science Center as a kid. I used to go to the Science Center as a kid, and they sold astronaut ice cream and astronaut food, and you would buy it, and it's basically just all freeze-dried food. And so my whole perception growing up was astronauts only eat freeze-dried food. And I think that's still somewhat true. It's freeze-dried in like MREs they eat, which the military eats and stuff. It's stuff like that. But clearly, they also have things like Nutella, which is good for them.
Warmer.
Yeah, the food system is
technological achievement.
A lot of the food that we use is very similar to what they fly on ISS. It's the rehydratable food, and what we use on Orion, we have what we call a food warmer. It's about a little suitcase-sized device, and our biggest challenge is mass and volume on Orion going to the moon. And so we had to reduce the size of a galley. We would love to fly a galley, but we just can't because of the mass and volume challenge. So we have a suitcase that basically the crew inserts their food into the suitcase. It's a warming plate and heats it up to about 155 degrees.
Oh my goodness, that's much warmer than I expected you to say. That's
yeah,
really
warm.
impressive.
It's what they use for doing the hot drinks, warming up the food that needs to be warmed up so that it tastes better when it's warmer. So they can put about 12 packages in there to be able to heat up those and
Wow.
be able to have some hot food during the flight.
I'm impressed. I used to be a taste tester here, and so I always enjoyed trying the food. I found it.
Is she joking? Is there a NASA taste testing position? Please tell me that's a real thing. I will go to NASA. I will go to Johnson right now and apply in person and say, I am going to be your new outer space taste tester. I will do that right now. Tell me that's a real position, please.
It to be really good, and so
it is amazing what they can do.
Yes, it really is. This view outside the Orion spacecraft, you can see those solar arrays positioning. And a reminder, you can keep up with where Orion is at any time by visiting nasa.gov/track Artemis. Currently, the spacecraft is 122,500 miles away from Earth and 146,000 miles away from the moon.
There it is. I don't see Artemis. Oh. 7:05:48. Seems like there is some considerable lag. It might just be my internet connection, I guess. Oh, I see. I'll have to play around with this sometime when I'm not like streaming, but it's really cool to know this exists.
We are 2 days, 1 hour, 3 minutes into the flight of Artemis 2, the first flight of crew aboard Orion.
Space
Spacecraft now
clothes, man.
123,000 miles away from.
I'm so surprised there's not space clothes already. Do I have to do it? I'm going to do it. I'm going to start a fashion company for astronauts specifically, with specially designed clothes that don't float around. We'll find some solution, and then we'll sell it to astronauts and say, hey, are you tired of your shirt floating up every time you're rocketing around the International Space Station? Are you tired of your hoodie being so flowy that it's in your way all the time when you're floating in outer space? We have a solution for you. Space clothes. I'll work on it.
From Earth. You're getting a live look inside the capsule as our 4 crew members, Reed Wiseman, Victor
Maybe
Clever, Jeremy
that will be my merch line for this YouTube channel is astronaut clothing.
Hansen and Christina Cook, are wrapping up their midday meal, getting the opportunity to take photos out the window of Earth and the Moon. We are in an LOS period, loss
They have
of
phones
signal
up there?
from the ground side. This was tracked and communicated to the crew.
Wow, that's cool. I didn't realize they had
However,
phones
we
up
do
there.
receive communications from the crew members. Obviously, we have their live video right now.
Cameras everywhere.
This is Artemis Mission Control. You're currently seeing a live look again inside the Orion spacecraft. In the center of the screen is NASA astronaut Christina Cook, who is serving as one of the 2 mission specialists on the Artemis 2 mission. She's currently completing her planned daily exercise using the flywheel exercise device, which operates similar to a rowing machine but can complete different types of exercises, including resistive and aerobic exercises.
While it's cool that everything is being recorded, I also feel like it would be really intrusive for everything to be recorded, you know? Like, and I'm sure on it's a 2-edged sword, right? On one side, or not 2-edged sword, it's 2 sides of the same coin is the analogy maybe I wanted. On one side, you're like, cool, everything's being recorded. For the rest of my life, I'll have footage of these 10 days I was in space. Everything I did, I can go back and reminisce, and, you know, and that's cool, and so can all of the world, I guess. But on the other side, it's like, there's no privacy. There's no privacy from anyone. Anyone on the planet Earth could be watching me at any given moment do anything. And that's got to be a weird feeling. Also, what happens if you sweat in space? Does it stay on your skin? Does it float off of your skin and just float? These are just sweat particles floating all around the space station. It's an interesting question.
And they were discussing moving the lunar flyby cabin configuration. During this particular activity, the crew will develop and document an ideal configuration of the Orion spacecraft internal cabin for the lunar flyby observation period, which will take place on flight day 6. And they will deploy various cameras and equipment that will be used during the flyby, and also work to adjust the spacecraft's lighting and positioning of each crew member to ensure once they make it to that flyby on flight day 6 that everything is well set up and thought out and placed, so that they don't have to worry about trying to figure out where all those cameras and equipment will be going on that actual flight day itself. Now the crew is going to start working on their pre-lunar flyby cabin configuration activity. So they're going to be deploying some cameras and other equipment that they plan to use during the flyby on flight day 6 to just ensure that they know where everything should be set up, where it should go, and where each crew member should be stationed for that observation period.
It's so crowded in there. It's crazy.
Houston integrity on 1 for lunar flyby setup.
Go ahead.
If you still have the HHP, we're wondering, in Jeremy's position, if he's looking out the window there, will the moon be right side up or upside down?
That's crazy to ask.
We have a great view. We're checking.
Alternatively, is the north pole of the moon going to be in the vehicle plus X direction?
Yeah, we're going to go with the first way you worded the question and say affirm it's upside down in the position Jeremy is in right now.
Huh. It's so weird to think that he's in a position where he's like, I don't know which way I'm facing. You know, that's got to be a weird phenomenon.
So if he flips over, it'll be right side up.
That's how it works.
Currently on your screen, you're seeing a live look inside the Orion spacecraft, which is named Integrity, and it was named Integrity by its crew. The crew is currently working through a pre-lunar flyby cabin configuration activity. All 4 of them are working to deploy various cameras and equipment that will be used during the flyby, which is planned for flight day 6 of the mission. They'll also be adjusting the spacecraft's lighting and positioning of each crew member to ensure that all of the equipment, cameras, as well as the individual placement of each of them works and will be seamless during the flyby observation period.
I didn't realize they had different configurations they could set up for. I mean, it makes sense, but I didn't realize that they could reconfigure the inside to be optimal for positioning or optimal for flyby or optimal for lunar injection burn, or, you know, it seems very modular. Like it seems, I haven't seen it, I haven't watched a video yet on the inside of that thing, but it seems like everything's very modular. A lot of things can come out of place, go into new place, you know. They themselves can like work and wiggle their way into like smaller spaces and little slant spaces and little, you know. It's very interesting the way they have it all set up in there to where they can employ so much flexibility in space usage. No pun intended.
And there you can see on your screen that the crew just turned out the lights on the Orion spacecraft.
Oh.
So now it's quite dark. And again,
is that on purpose?
They are adjusting the lighting as part of that lunar flyby cabin configuration activity so that they can test the lighting as well as all of the camera equipment that will be used during the lunar flyby. And this is Artemis Mission Control. NASA astronaut Christina Cook is currently working through the Deep Space Network Emergency Communications Developmental Flight Test Objective, during which she's basically conducting a checkout of that emergency communication system on Orion while connected to that Deep Space Network.
Oh, there's Victor. Okay.
And Integrity Houston, we have some news to share with you. As of 30 seconds ago, you are...
It's just so crazy that, like, this guy's lying down, this guy's bending over, this guy's completely upside down, this person's on their back. Like, there's no orientation of up. That's got to be so disorienting. I'm getting disoriented just looking at an image like this.
Now closer to the moon than you are to us on Earth.
Wow, what a milestone. Over halfway.
Wow, Jackie, thank you for sharing that with us. We all kind of had a collective, I guess, expression of joy at that. It's hard to imagine, but we can see here on our flight PFD that we are at 118,000 nautical miles. So, yeah, you can do the math. We can see the moon out of the docking hatch right now. It is a beautiful sight. We're seeing more and more of the far side, and it's just a thrill to be here.
It's so cool. Good for them.
Copies.
Now, while they are officially closer to the moon than they are to Earth, they have not entered what is known as the lunar sphere of influence yet. That milestone will come on flight day 5. And when that milestone happens, that is when the moon, instead of the Earth, becomes the main gravitational force acting on the Orion spacecraft.
So this is a concept I still don't quite think I understand yet. I always thought, my whole life, I always thought Earth, gravity. Moon, some amount of gravity, not as much as Earth. In between, no gravity either way. But now I'm learning that's not the case. It seems like Earth has gravity to lesser and lesser degrees the farther away you get, of course. And then it lapses with the moon's gravity the closer and closer. And is everything like that? Are all the planets, do they all have a very small degree of gravity all the way until you get to the next gravitational pull item? Or are some of the planets far enough away from each other that there is, you will eventually be out of residual gravity range and just be in a zero gravity free, completely zero gravity environment?
Yeah, Jackie. We just wanted to sync up with you. We know that there was some talk about some burnt smell from the heaters.
Wow, that's a that's a crazy glitch there. Having lived up north, every time you turn on a new heater that's never been turned on before, especially if it's an induction heater, which I suspect is what they have up there, you get kind of a burning smell. It's mostly just the dust that settled on the heating coils before you turned it on, and then when you turn it on, the dust burns. But it's so microscopic, you can't even tell it's there usually. So that's probably just what it is, hopefully. It can be a little alarming if you're not used to it.
Okay, Jackie. So this time we turned on the WHC on the toilet, and it had that burning odor smell that we just hadn't experienced before. And so we just wanted to talk to you about it. We know we had a briefing on that.
It's good to check in on that, though. It's not like you're in the middle of Massachusetts in the winter and you can just turn it off or go get another heater. You know, you're in the middle of space and now officially closer to the moon than to Earth. So if you smell anything burning at that point, definitely should radio it in.
So the crew has smelt it once or twice before, but this time was stronger and was different. And we opened the door, everybody in the cabin could smell it. So we just thought we'd check in with you. We're not overly concerned right now. It's probably related to what we're told to expect, but we just wanted to have a quick conversation.
That's got to be alarming.
Integrity Houston,
like, even if you're not
on Orion Earth 1 for the toilet. We've discussed, based on the pre-flight reports and the AGA readings, we're going to continue discussing on the ground, but we are comfortable continuing with the emergency comm DFTO, and we are comfortable with you continuing to use the toilet.
On board the Orion spacecraft.
Seems like this mission has had some toilet issues. I know there was a day one concern. Actually, they didn't say about it on the day one highlights, but I remember hearing about it on day one, that there was some sort of malfunction with the toilet. So it seems like they've had some problems in there. Do they have a shower on this mission? Or no?
Crew is currently awake. They are wrapping up some final activities for the day. NASA astronaut Christina Cook is currently working through a Deep Space Network Emergency Communications Developmental Flight Test Objective. Victor is also working on a test objective related to the D5 camera imaging and taking some images at varying focal lengths of subjects such as the Earth and the Moon to evaluate the window optical effects on imagery. And then NASA astronaut Reed Wiseman is working to transfer some data from the flywheel, which is the exercise device on board the Orion spacecraft. And then coming up here in a little bit, CSA, or Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen, will support a public affairs downlink event for the Canadian Space Agency.
You know what's interesting? Almost every time they say his name, they say CSA. Like, we didn't know. But, like, it reminds me of NASCAR drivers. I don't know how many of you... I'm a big NASCAR fan. Tyler Reddick, that's my boy. But anytime they say anything about NASCAR drivers, they always put the sponsor name in front of their name. It'd be like, oh, this is the O'Reilly car. They always put the sponsor thing. Anytime the driver's talking about the cars, they always say the full title, sponsor name, and then the name of the car or the name of the, it's really interesting that they do that, but I get it. It's sponsorship. It's a sponsorship sport. But it's interesting that they do the same thing with Jeremy Hansen. They always say CSA, Canadian Space Agency, Jeremy Hansen. It's interesting. It reminds me of the NASCAR sponsorship tag.
And integrity is the Canadian Space Agency. Jeremy.
A little bit of feedback there.
We hear you loud and clear. We're a long ways away. There's probably a bit of a delay, but great to chat with you. I got a few people joining me today. I got Victor and Reed here. Christina's working hard right behind the camera right now.
Hello, Jeremy. It's Lisa.
And so on behalf of Canada, I just want to say thank you to my colleagues for this opportunity. And I would like to remind Canadians, if we can send a human around the moon in 2026, just imagine what we're capable of doing next. Thanks so much for joining us on board Integrity. It's a great ship here, and we're closer to the moon today than we are to Earth. This is a big milestone for us, and we look forward to sharing more with you in the coming days. Wishing you all the best. Au revoir.
Cool.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Au revoir. My favorite Canadian, by the way, no one asked, but I'm going to tell you anyways. My favorite Canadian, Duke Kaboom. Yes, I Canada. Best catchphrase ever. All right, that was a good way to end that. A good proper send-off. So, anyways, this video is down in the description below. If you made it to this point, please drop a comment. Let me know you made it to the end of the video. I appreciate you for doing so. YouTube keeps telling me people are only staying around to watch about 3 or 4 minutes of your videos, which is fine on the 15-minute videos, I guess. It's very discouraging on the 45-minute plus videos because I feel like I'm just talking to no one for 45 minutes. But I guess these videos will live on in perpetuity, and maybe someday someone will watch all of this without like needing me to tell them to go watch all of it. So anyways, have a great day on Earth.